Hello and welcome to a new week. A very wet week it's been, certainly here in Brisbane. So, we're back on the balcony. So starting as we usually do. Some warm-ups, head rolls. So breathing out on the way down, breathing in on the way up. Apologies about the camera angle, this was the best that I could do given the circumstances, so yeah. We don't have any new people though yet at the moment, so everyone's relatively familiar with most of the things that we're doing, so hopefully it won't matter too much. Anyway, if you do have any questions, of course, email me or text me or whatever you need to do to communicate. Just to also, as a reminder, as always we breathe in through our nose and breathe out through our mouth, so breathing in as we look up, breathing out as we look down. And also remembering to keep the tongue on the roof of our mouth, just on that hard palate, just behind our top teeth. Completes a meridian. And I've been told by physios that it also helps to engage the very small musculature at the front of our neck, which balances everything out. So, stepping to shoulder width apart, taking our knees off lock, just going to roll our shoulders back 6 times, nice and slowly. And with this one there's no particular breathing, so just breathing in your own time, as I mentioned earlier, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then doing opposites and back. So just making sure I've got enough room to swing my arms around, so breathing out as we twist, breathing into the center. So breathing out as we twist to the side and breathing in. Big things to watch with these kind of movements is make sure, as you can see, you're moving your knees. Keeping your weight nice and balanced, taking the strain off your back, that's why we bend our knees. Also engages our leg muscles, which will help them to become stronger and more flexible, which is always useful. Also helps your knees joints because you don't have all that weight just sitting on that joint, so it's good to just bend our knees just slightly. So looking up to the sky, these lovely side stretches, always like these ones. And to the other side. So stretching our forearms out, as I mentioned, breathing in your own time with these ones. If I'm not sort of talking through, as I often do, breathe in and breathe out. Do remember to breathe, it's very important. And the easiest ways to stress your body is not to be breathing properly, and lots of people do it. They just don't know because it's a habit. So, making sure that we breathe. So I'm just going to, some of us might not be so familiar with these wrist stretches, so basically letting our hand dangle, pinky to the sky, put the other hand through, and then twisting that pinky to the sky. So that's my right hand getting stretch, and my left hand is on top of my right hand. You'll feel a stretch in your wrist for these ones. So these are martial arts wrist stretches. So again, right hand again, and my left hand's thumb goes in between my 4th and 5th finger and twists it forward. So same on the left. Dangle your left hand, and then twist it up. Pinky towards the sky is how I always describe this. And then twisting it the opposite way. So basically twisting your palm away from you. If you've got any questions, let me know. I can always do extra videos or talk you through it. Okay, so doing our waist rolls, breathing out on the way forward, breathing in on the way back. So breathing out and breathing in, and then reversing the direction. So, as you may have noticed, we tend to do things in multiples of 3, and the reason for this is because, as most people are aware, which is great these days, there's the philosophy of yin and yang. So you've got your yin aspect, which you might think of as cold or darkness or one sort of aspect within life, and then you've got another aspect which is yang, which might be heat or light. And the idea is that you've got those two extremes, but then of course you've got the balance and interplay between the two. So nothing's extreme heat or extreme cold. You always have an aspect in physical reality of the other one. So that's why we do things in 3. We do 1 for the yin, 1 for the yang, and then 1 for the yin and yang, or Tai Chi, which is the balance between the two. So placing our hands on the ground and then basically rocking back on our heels, toes up, and then rocking onto our toes, heels off the ground. It's a great variation on a hamstring stretch if you want to sort of think about what it might be doing. And just stretching out our quads, one of the more sort of traditional stretches. Stretches like this aren't necessarily part of the Kai Men, the usual warm-ups that the Chinese would do, but I find them useful, so I tend to do them just for my own benefit. Just like a bit of a hamstring stretch, your usual touching your toes or getting as low as you can, and so forth. Okay, and twisting our ankles 3 times in each direction. Just making sure that they're nice and loose and flexible. And as I've mentioned before, the main idea with the Kai Men is we're not just warming up the body, we're actually allowing the energy to flow. Of course, if you're flexible, you flow. And that in turn makes the Qigong more powerful. And it also opens our energy up, which is why we do the closing down exercise at the end of everything. So, to our usual liver exercise, coming up on our tippy toes, turning to our right side and breathing in. Breathing out on the way back down. So, breathing in on the way up and breathing out on the way down. As I mentioned, I think it was not last week but the week before, one of the big things the people that have more experience with the Tai Chi and Qigong noted, and I was aware doing some training with them when I was in Greece recently, is that things are a bit more effective and also a bit more challenging too when you go a bit slower. So you'll notice if you look at my pace, it hopefully is still quite slow and deliberate. And there's a couple of reasons for this, mainly because it actually allows the energy to flow a bit more freely and a bit better. And the other aspect is, if you think of it from a body perspective, it's actually a bit more challenging resistance training if you like to do things slower than quickly. So if you've ever been to the gym and seen people pushing around really big weights but very quickly, it's actually because that is easier to do, whereas if they were doing it slowly, of course, not so easy. So this is our usual, back to the exercises, look. This is our usual heart-lung exercise, breathing out on the way out, breathing in as our arms come back in. Another lung exercise, oh no, sorry, this is our liver exercise, it looked like the other one. So breathing on the way up, breathing out on the way down, breathing as we come up, breathing out, back to our center, Dantian, Hara, different words, same thing. Sacral chakra, if you want to call it that. So breathing out on the way down, breathing in as we come up, release that squeeze, breathe out on the way down, and then breathe in and breathe out. So as I've mentioned before, these exercises are for storing energy. So when we put that triangle around our sacral center, what we're actually doing is we're storing the energy in that energy center for later. So the Chinese like to call it, I believe the translation of Dantian is the cauldron. So this is where we store our qi for the day. And it has a certain supply for the day if you like, and if you do things like Qigong, it increases what you've got available so you don't get tired. And it doesn't stress your body and your mind and your emotions and stuff out as you get through the day because you've got plenty of energy, which of course is very important. So that's why. So this is our kidney exercise. Breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down, breathing in and gathering the energy and then breathing out. So breathing in on the way up and then palms forward, we breathe out. We've got no breath in our lungs at this point. We squeeze our ankles or our legs as low as you can go. Breathe in on the way up. Right hand's in front when we cross our arms back there, and so forth. So that's our kidney exercise. We'll just do 3 more of those. The big thing to watch for with this is arms crossed here. I tend to do it fairly, there we go, nice and slow. That's it, leg. So I tend to do that bit fairly quickly. So just slowing that down a little bit. And of course our arms are crossed in front of us because that actually helps our balance and takes the strain off our back when we stand up. So it's actually there to just make everything a lot easier. It does other things for your energy too, but just from a body mechanics perspective, it helps balance us out. You'll notice that a lot with things like this or the Tai Chi. So breathing out on the way down, squeeze our legs to block that flow, release the flow, and back through. So you'll notice with that one and with our first liver exercise, there's a blocking, and what that does is it increases the flow and then the energy shoots through any stagnant stuff that isn't moving. This is our lung exercise. It's the heron stretching its wings from the Tai Chi. So breathing in as we come up, breathing out on the way down. So breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. There we go. Our de-stressing lung exercise, so breathing out in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. So breathing in and then breathing out. And on the 3rd time breathing in, we're going to come back to our center. So breathing out, coming back to our center, breathing all that lovely energy in, and then breathing out and relaxing. Stretching our neck out. Okay, breathe in, breathe out, push out, breathe in, pull in, pushing out, breathing out. So pulling in, pushing up, breathing out. Okay, circle down and around, breathe out, breathing in, and then back to our center as usual. So breathe in and breathe out. So this is more of a energy balancing exercise. It's not for any particular organ specifically. It's mainly the lungs though, as you can tell. So breathing out as we push out, breathing in as we come back. Breathing out as we push out, breathing in as we come back. And so forth. And breathing out. So this is our S breath, breathing in the way up and then exhaling with an S. So we bring our hands into a beak and exhale with an S sound. This is a good one to do outside. If you can't do it outside, as I mentioned last week with a different exercise, it's good to stop the recording after this and clear the room with some Mozart or some Bach for a couple of minutes, just because they tend to release a fair bit of energy, those ones. So, doing our de-stress again, so our lung exercise, breathing on the way up, breathing out on the way down. So breathing in, and then breathing out. Okay. So this is our heart exercise. So breathing in on the way up. Breathing out as we bring our arms down. Palms almost touch. Breathe into our shoulders. Breathe out on the way down. And then breathing in and breathing out. So what you'll notice is that my palms twist at heart level. So twist outwards. So they're starting like they're moving upwards, and then they twist down and outwards as they reach heart level. The rest of the exercise is fairly straightforward, but people sometimes find that a bit confusing. So just again, so twist down and outwards at that heart level. So not too high, not too low. And so on. So this art exercise is specifically for our heart, as you can tell, because, well, if you look at it, it actually forms two hearts with the movements. But as well, of course, we actually move our hands and the energy at our heart there and also here. So we're gathering an energy in front of our heart. Breathe in and then breathe out. So make sure you don't squash your heart. We don't want to have our palms touch in this bit. Palms come close, but they don't actually touch. Breathing into our shoulders, breathing out, and then gathering all that energy in. Breathing in, and breathing out. Heart exercises are very useful because our heart affects everything else. It's connected to all the other organs. So, yeah, very important. So this is our usual spleen exercise, floating hands, we like to call this. And the main thing to watch for with this, as I've mentioned before, is not just moving your arms and shoulders, but also it's a whole body movement, so it's a bit like kind of rocking up and down. Okay, so breathing in as we come up, breathing out on the way down. So breathing in as we come up, breathing out on the way down. Same thing, palms up, breathing out, breathe in, create a nice big ball of energy, breathe out, take that down to the ground, breathe in, take it up to the sky, breathe out and shower it down over you, and then breathing in and breathing out. So the spleen is associated with the earth element. As you can probably tell from this exercise, because of course it's not just the flowing movements. You might associate more with water, but this particular bit where we take the energy down to the ground, and we take that energy all the way up and cover ourselves with it. Okay, so to the Tai Chi for this week. Last week was some specifics. This week I thought we'd just going over some of the basics, but just basically doing the sequence. So arms come around at navel height, drawing that left foot back in, pushing down, arms come up, drawing back down, circling around at navel height, and stepping forward, and almost running into the wall because we don't have much room. Circling around again and drawing back like so, and pointing our right toe to the sky. Collapsing our right hand just so you can see. Trace over with our left and stepping out to our right. Don't forget to pivot that back foot, that left foot. So I think of this as a hip movement. It moves a lot easier if you move your hips as well. So that back foot is pivoted as well. Arms about, well, hands at shoulder height, arms just a little bit lower. You'll notice that bend in my arms. So not too high, not too low. You'll notice where my left hand is from behind. Then just circling down and around and back. Almost like clapping and looking into our rice bowl. Pushing out with the backs of our hands, drawing back, circling down and around, and pushing out with our palms. Drawing back, and pivoting both feet, right then left, and we face back where we started. Push out, arms above our head, left hand in front, right hand forms a beak, like so, keeping our arms nice and flat at shoulder height. So right hand to my chin, left hand under my right hand. So right hand to my chin, left hand under my right hand. Going to ground that left hand, which balances as we stretch that right wing, and then we stretch our left wing. So heron stretching its wings, stepping out, painting our rainbow. Right hand ends up in front, so just again, heron stretches its wings, step out with our left foot, painting our rainbow. Right arm's in front, and our wrists crossed in front of us are about heart level, like so. So not directly in front of us, not against us, but just in front of us. Yep. Make sure we're sitting nice and stable on our knees, knees off lock. So doing our tiger, right hand comes on top, left hand comes underneath. Step forward with our left foot. Right hand comes to our right, left to our left. Left hand on top. Collapse the energy. Twist so our right palm is on top. Right hand's on top. Yep. Again, we're going to ground that left hand to balance this as we reach out and grasp our swallow's tail. Yep. Right hand down the bottom, left hand on top. And we're going to do our infinity sign. Draw back and start again. So pushing down, hands coming up. Drawing back down. Circling down and around. Stepping forward. Circling down and around again, almost like our hands are clapping. Drawing that left hand down, right foot back. So you'll notice my left hand is literally just below my right. It's literally like the tops of my left fingers are touching the bottom of my right hand. Collapse my right hand, trace over with my left, step out to our right. Palms towards us, circle down and around again, draw back to our rice bowl. Up to our shoulders, push out, circling down and around, push out again, drawing back, pivoting both of our feet, and pushing out, and as before. Okay, something happened to my video file, I'm sorry about that, so that's all we've got.